Welcome to Heart of Mathematics. This video is on a discussion about how MRIs use two-dimensional slices to develop three-dimensional models. So this is using Matlab's MRI data. So as you see in front of you, this is horizontal slices of somebody's brain where they've done a MRI scan where they take measurements at different levels through the brain. So a magnet goes, the MRI machine goes through, and they take measurements every so often. This is what they call a slice. They do a MRI exam at each particular moment, kind of as essentially as if they were slicing the brain. And the idea is that you want to take these different slices, you want to stack them up together. And so the question is these are different dimensions. These are kind of what we call level curves. Almost, it's like different levels of the brain. And our goal is to take it and take these different slices and again, create a new brain. So let me switch to a different window here. And now what we see is we see in this program, we can generate this brain, and this is built with slices. You can kind of see that these different slices give this sort of ridging effect on the edge of the brain. So if we look at the MRI, we can also look at it in terms of their slice planes. And this is where if I look at the view of the slice, I can move through the slices. And I see that as I move the slider in the XY plane, I can see as I progress through those slices. So I'm moving through each of those planes in the brain. And this gives me a sense of what's going on in the dimension. So I'm catching two-dimensional shapes, these planes, and I'm building a three-dimensional object. And I'm not restricted to just looking at the planes in one particular direction. I can choose to look at the planes in different directions. So if I change my orientation, I can also look and see how, let me move a different slider here. I can look to see how the plane changes in a different direction. So I can look at a slice in a different area. So I can look at the slice going from the side of the brain. You can see this in the YZ slice on the left-hand side of the screen in the third box down, how that changes as we go along. Or if I were to rotate this, we can see how if I change the XZ slice, although this is a little bit, there we go, I can see how I see a different perspective on the brain. And so these different dimensions are two-dimensional planes that build this three-dimensional surface. And so what we can do is we can take dimensions that are smaller level dimensions and build up to higher level surfaces. And we'll talk about this with different videos.